All right, Jody, we're back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Can-Am Connection. Good morning, Jay Clean. Good morning, our Sport Videos. Good morning, Jody. How's it
Good.
going?
I'm doing good, Mr. Espey. Right hand is still sore, but we're doing good. We're doing good.
Sore
Oh
from
yeah.
after pulling or from pulling Clayton Faulkner?
I think just pulling it all. I mean, this erosive osteoarthritis is really taking its toll. So I probably shouldn't have pulled the right hand match, but in order for me to pull Clayton left handed, the agreement was you got to pull me right hand. That's pretty much how that went down.
I got you. So
So
you guys pulled. You came out on top, of course. We unpacked it a little bit.
yeah,
And
both hands.
yeah, has there been any chatter following that match?
Actually, I got a text message from him saying that, and I don't know if this is from the car wreck, but he said that, hey, by the way, I will beat you next time, no matter what weight class. Okay, which is fine. I mean, that's fine. I don't want to go through that again because I've beaten him 3 times now. I don't really want to go a fourth time. And
There's no
then,
need.
right, but then he has a guy named Randy James who lives in the BC area and said, I'll get my buddy to pull you. I'm thinking, I didn't know if that was an open challenge or what. Now all of a sudden I got it's me versus the Canadians. Have you noticed that? So you beat Clayton Faulkner, you beat Jeff Frank, you beat Clayton again. I got Uncle John coming up at Arm Wars in March. Prior to that, it was me and Beer Man at Winter Blast. So that may have to be pushed down the road. So now you got this Randy James fella. So it seems like I'm gonna be pulling a bunch of Canadians coming up in 2023.
Rebecca Todd, good morning.
And Rebecca,
Martha, good morning.
Miss Rebecca, I want you to know I responded to that post you put up there. I will never, ever, ever say you're fat or out of shape. The funnel cake thing she put up with her and Michael, because I don't want Rebecca to slap the taste out of my mouth 2 time zones away. So I love that girl though.
Funnel cake.
Yeah, there's a post that they posted up, about Michael calling her fat, and he said, no, I just said we couldn't go to the funnel cake factory, and she said same thing, that kind of thing. So I didn't want to deal with that. So
Michael Todd has, in one sitting, eaten more pizza than I have ever seen another human being eat in my entire existence.
and it still looks good. Pisses me off.
Yeah. Yeah. Good morning, Billy Berg. Over the top TV. So you were going to ask me a question, Jody. What was it?
So Ryan, the question to you and everybody in the chat is that how does one feel about taking matches prior to their super match? Okay, so everybody follow me here. Just follow me. It might be a little confusing, but follow me. So on the Aussie Arm Wrestling channel, he had John Brzezinski on. This was the other day. And Brzezinski told the whole world, hey, my plan was to pull Saplink off in February, right? I believe at King of the Table. At the time, the contracts weren't signed yet. He didn't get them. But Ingen went to John and says, hey, how about, pulling a Rackley? And originally John said, well, no, I want to really focus on this Saplinkov match, because Ungerbayev backed out of the match against Rackley, right? So Ingen's like, hey, we need a replacement. And at first John said no, but, they weren't really sure about the contracts. And, long story short, John accepted that, right? However, Ungerbayev backed out. And now when John said, yes, I'll go ahead and be the replacement to pull Rackley. And now Ungerbayev is pulling Michael Todd, But before that, Ungerbayev challenged Devin Larratt, and Devin Larratt declined. So there's a lot of shifting and shimmying going on here. And my question to you is, and everybody in the chat, how does one feel about taking on matches prior to a match you're really focusing on?
That's an interesting question. Now, it really depends. I mean, sometimes it can backfire terribly.
Mm-hmm.
We see guys get injured. We just saw Corey West pull a big match against Cody Merritt when he already had the next match signed up for January. Corey fortunately seems to have come out of that completely unscathed and will go on to face Farid. So basically, you're talking about booking super matches that are short notice or short time in between, right?
Yeah.
But you see a lot of the young guys from the States doing it. Austin Jaggers is one of them. He seems to have a few of them lined up at a time.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Rebecca makes a good point here. Don't turn down matches. You don't have to. Now, the fortunate thing about arm wrestling is there's always someone else ready to step in.
Right.
So it's risky for a competitor, and you give yourself a bit of a bad name if you have to pull out of a match because you bit off more than you could chew. However, there's always going to be an acceptable replacement. I think the highest profile one that we just saw, and let's face it, you can get injured at any time.
Yeah.
So it's not just pulling. Look at what happened with Jerry. And then we had Dave Chafee sitting there waiting for, willing to step in at the last fairly short notice.
And even I thought, because Jerry came off that monumental match with Vitali, and I'm like going, okay, Dave, awesome match. I think you should go ahead and rest, you know? And then all of a sudden Jerry gets injured. Hey, we need somebody to, you know, fill in the pull the Hermes. And Dave says, I'll do it. Now, the question was it enough time to heal? Was it enough time to train? In my opinion, not necessarily, but who am I? I mean, Dave knows his body better than anybody else. So, you know, that's that, you know, situation. But at the same time, when you have John, who really wants this match with Dennis, and Dennis came on the last, East versus West, and said, yeah, he's coming back to pull John. He wants to pull John. So we know the stage has been set. Now we got to find a date, and you have to do all the contract stuff, you know? And so you would think that, okay, if I'm John Brzenk, I want to be at my best. And even John said on the Aussie show, if anybody watched it, says he doesn't care if he loses to Irakli. He just wants to come out of that match uninjured. That's what it comes down to. So that's pretty much where I was going with that. So, you know.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting situation there, but we're starting to see this all the time. And, you know, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but I mean, I haven't got permission to talk about this yet, but I mean, Cody's not going to be pulling for a little while.
Right.
So I'm sure he'll reveal that to the people when he's ready, but it's going to be a little bit. So he didn't have anything booked, but I mean, we saw it happen. Cody Merritt had him and I were lined up. He had an injury happen again, and we had to cancel our match.
Right.
Now it's going to be quite some time before we line up in any capacity. It's probably more likely that I pull Corey West before I pull Cody Merritt.
Yeah, because I know you said that you had very valid interest in that match going into it at the Monster Factory, and you know you're probably sitting up there just glued to the TV set and was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. And like I said, did anybody have Corey winning? Probably not. But the way he beat him, it was like, wow. You know, it was like, oh, okay. And you know, we're not surprised by that, but at the same time, it's like to beat Corey like that, the way he did, it almost seemed like he beat Cody a lot better than Morozov beat Cody, if that makes sense.
It does. However, that's like MMA math. This guy beats this guy, but he can't beat this guy, so this other guy should be able to beat him, but it just doesn't really work out that way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
one skill set could look better against another one, yet that guy that loses might beat the guy that beats the other guy. It's just different.
And I get that. That's the way our sport works, you know what I mean? So, you know, and all you need is that opportunity, because all you do, if you get that one win, and we'll use the Monster Factory since we're talking about it, all it takes is that one win for everybody to see, and then all of a sudden doors open. You know, we all knew Paul Lynn was good. He pulled John. Yeah, he lost 3-0, but he gave John all he can handle, right? So Michael, Rebecca, you know, say, hey, Paul, once you come to our event, you can pull Ron Bath, right? So what does Paul Lynn does? He beats Ron Bath. Next thing you know, doors open. He goes to East versus West. he's undefeated at East versus West. So now all of a sudden, hey, I got my jump start here at the Monster Factory. So maybe now there's something to it, because now the next guy out of that camp I think is going to do real good is Pablo. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's going to be the next guy because we all know, what Bob Brown can do. Hell, Craig Tullier, and I hate to say this, Rebecca, let me know if I'm wrong, but guys like Bob Brown, Craig Tullier, Paul Lynn are regulars there, So now here's Craig Tullier. Doesn't he have a match coming up at East versus West?
I don't know.
I forgot.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Tullier does.
I forgot who was pulling, but yeah, he has a match coming up.
Yeah, and then maybe a promoter looks at the loss he just took and thinks maybe this isn't the right guy to bring in. I mean, I know that crosses promoters' minds because I've been in the position where I've gone from top of the list to bottom of the list based on a match performance.
Right. Yeah, but you can't make one match. Okay, well, you didn't win this match, therefore we're not going to call you back, right? But there is a thing where if you pull and you're supposed to be on the mega card and, you don't fulfill your obligation, I probably shouldn't use that phrase, but if you don't win, then it's like, okay, maybe it's back to the drawing board. And like I said, this is not me crapping on anybody. This is just me telling the facts. And, this is why I use Derek Smith. Love the guy. But he's won the East versus West twice now, 0 for 2, hasn't got a call back since. So maybe, he's not ready. So do we see Derek Smith at a Monster Factory event? I don't know. Do we see him versus I think rumor has it that he's supposed to be pulling Austin Jaggers at Winter Blast, but, I don't think that's been officially set yet. So we'll have to wait and see for the 98% crew to, make way.
We have Dan Woodley. Has this come up again, Dan? The beef between Travis and Jeff Frank?
I didn't know they had beef.
There's a little bit of beef. And it's about money. Surprise, surprise. Whenever Travis has beef with anyone, it's usually about money.
Do we know what is going on with that?
Travis feels like he wasn't paid. Oh, brought it up on his show. Did he elaborate, Dan? Because he has phoned me and told me that the next time he sees Jeff, he's going to smack him upside the head.
So does Jeff owe Travis money?
It depends who you ask. Jeff feels he has fulfilled his obligation, and Travis does not.
Wow. So what do you think? As I was just about to bring it up, Jay Clean, but Corey versus Travis, what do you think?
It's a fake match. It's a fake call-out. It's not. It's there to generate headlines because Travis is not there. Could he be there in a year? Sure. Maybe. If he took he needs to train his ass off. 6 months, we'll say. Travis trains for 6 months. He could be back on that level. However, I question his commitment. The fact that he had taken super matches and gotten destroyed by guys that are not, 5 years ago, were not even in the conversation of being in his league.
Talking about Brandon Elsesser?
Well, yeah. I mean, great arm wrestler, not Travis Bajan. Great. And unfortunately, we saw what happened there. And Travis didn't train. He didn't take it seriously. Would he actually pull Corey West right now? No. Not a chance. I don't buy it.
He's even said that, right now, because his situation with his son, who has a legitimate chance of being drafted to the NFL, by the way, this time of year is where Travis is focused on his son's football, rightfully so. And the draft was like in April, whatever, which is why it was kind of interesting when he said May 6th. Because then, hey, there's no football around May, so why not
train?
Yeah, I mean, who knows if he's training or not, man? Who knows? But at the same time, it's like that match. He said him and Corey is going to be at his event in West Virginia. It's like, for that to happen, it should be at a different neutral site, honestly.
Well, I don't think it'll matter. I mean, the referee's grip could be halfway down to a pin on Travis's side of the table, and Corey's still going to win that match.
Right.
It's not like if we're talking about Travis today, he's not there. 6 months he could be there, but he has to train like he used to train and be as dedicated as he used to be.
Now, let's look at the other coin. Does Corey even want the match? Like, Corey's in a position now where he's like, you know what? And remember the big talk, and I talked to Corey after this situation. I've even talked to Michael and Rebecca after this situation. Remember when Derek beat Tim Bresnan? And on the rankings, he kind of skyrocketed up over other people. And people are like going, well, wait a minute. How are you? We've never pulled, but yet you're over me. Remember that was that last year or something like that, or the year before, whatnot? And at that point, Derek put himself in a good position. Now, so ever since then, Corey has put himself in good positions. And now Corey is looking at it like, hey, he's in a situation where he doesn't have to, take that match if he doesn't want to.
Well, he should say no. I mean, he might take it just to beat Travis, but Dan Woodley took the words right out of my mouth.
What's this, Jody? You should smash Michael Todd next Monster Factory. Okay, let's pump the brakes on the smash. Okay, I would love to be on the Monster Factory event one day. We'll see how that all opens up. I don't know if they have a date set for the next one. I know usually when you have these big events around this time, the first thing you want to do is once the event's done, let's focus on the holidays first, and then come January 1, we'll see what's going on. But I would love to be there. I don't know who they would pair me up with, so we'll have to see what goes on with that. But speaking of Michael Todd and the tour he's doing, remember we talked about that last week?
The 100
wins. Yeah. So don't know if it's been done before, but he's going to do it. So for that to happen, though, Michael has to drop down the heavyweight class, because then he can pull heavyweight left and right, and supers left and right, and masters left and right. So possibly we're talking about a guy that can walk away with 6 first place events or trophies each event he goes to.
Right. However, the chances of getting 6 first place trophies at every event is pretty slim.
How so?
Well, you're going to have a variety of fresh competitors showing up. So Pavlo, for example, is going to be in some of those classes. That's only one guy. You could have a whole bunch that come out of the woodwork to try to beat Michael Todd. What happens when Michael pulls Vrej left-handed? Because he's going to be touring all over the United States. It's we'll find out really, really quickly if it's even a possibility of the first few events. He could rack up 18 in the first month, like right in January.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know he'll be coming out west. He'll be coming out west in August next summer.
So we had a match come up that was announced last week. I believe it was last week. And we were talking about this fella quite a while ago, and his opponent very recently. And that was Matt Mask versus Jordan Sonev.
Yes.
Jordan. Yeah. Did you see that announcement?
I did not. Enlighten me, sir.
Right arm. I don't know what it's the best of. It's happening at an event in Ontario. And it's coming up, I believe. I'll find out right now. I thought they said February, but I might be jumping the gun on that quite a bit. But I thought it was probably a pretty good match for Matt. It is a guy that's a threat, though. Like, he's not going to be a pushover at all.
Sometimes when you struggle, you need one of those matches like, I need to get back on the horse. I need to get back, where hey, I gotta get some steam behind me again, you know?
Well, Sonev is good. So this would almost be one of those matches I would say Matt needs to win. February the 18th.
Okay.
And man, he's good. Like it's going to be a good match. Out of Bulgaria, but it's happening in Ontario.
Well, I tell you what, that's going to be awesome. And by the way, Ryan, I know we'll probably have time to touch on this down the road, not too far, because January 14th, Armed Gods, Ireland, first ever event. Have you paid attention to that?
I have, because I was offered a match on the card, but I'm pulling up their Facebook page here.
Yes, 12 matches total, everyone, for that first event in Ireland. So I don't know who the headliner is, but when you have Paul Maiden versus Evan Burgoyne for the Commonwealth right-handed title.
Yeah, that's a tough match for Evan. I don't know what's going to happen there. I think probably the Welsh Wolverine. Welsh Wolverine, I was almost took your match on you when you pulled out of it, but I couldn't make it work.
Oh, yeah. And Rebecca answered. She goes, she was a few minutes behind, but she says Craig Tullier lost at 200 pounds. He's pulling East versus West at 185, which I think he is dangerous at 185, by the way. And she also said Derek did get an invite back to East versus West, but he turned it down.
That's probably wise. I would be curious to know who they're going to put him up against.
Yes, yes. How about Derek go to Monster Factory? Why not?
Why not?
I say you put him and Chance together at Monster Factory. Or not.
I mean, I'd like to see it.
But it's not my event, so I don't want to start, telling people what to do. But do you think that would get some eyes? Hell yeah.
It would get some eyes. I think Chance is more on an upward trajectory. So I don't know. I don't know what would happen there.
Or what if, check this out. Now, what if, let's just say for, shits and giggles, Monster Factory has their next event around April-ish, give or take, right? And now you get a fresh, uninjured John Brzenk, a fresh, uninjured Michael Todd, and reboot that match because it was supposed to happen at the last one, but Michael's injury prevented that. So maybe you reboot that. You push it out to April. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. I'll tell you that I was contemplating something.
Yes.
The North American Championships are happening on February the 18th.
Yes.
In Mexico City. I'm contemplating attending that event.
You should.
Here's the catch.
Uh-oh.
It's a WAF event. Now, I'm going to share a little bit of information without giving away too much here. The World Arm Wrestling Federation. Remember how I told you the Nationals in Canada are a qualifier for both?
Yes.
That is not true.
Really? I thought it was.
No, because Canada is officially a member of the IFA.
Aha.
While we are not officially a member of WAF.
As of when?
Probably the second we became a member of the IFA. But we voted to go with IFA. Now, there is a path for Canada to get back and be able to attend both events. There is a way. I am probably unofficially banned from WAF at the moment because I am on the executive of the Canadian Arm Wrestling Federation. And when I say unofficially, I mean the names haven't been published. I think they're looking for a list at some point. But, I mean, it is what it is.
Here we go again.
Yeah, here we go again. But there is a path, and all things will be revealed in time. And I'm hoping to be able to attend those events.
And that's the thing. And this was, and I've always said this, and I don't want to get too far into this because some people have their own opinions, and it's almost like when you talk WAF and IFA, it's like talking about politics. It's like we all know there's something there, but you don't want to get too deep into it. So, again, I think it's stupid to tell somebody they can't represent their own country. Sorry.
Well, I agree with you in part. An arm wrestler should have the right to choose where they want to arm wrestle.
Right.
But with that in mind, a country should do everything possible so that they have that choice.
Agreed.
Now, in Canada, that might mean some different things happening, but then it would at least give you the choice. But once you make that choice, it's a little bit odd or a little bit tough to go back if you pick the IFA over WAF. There is a process to follow to get back to WAF.
Right.
It's not a completely cumbersome process. You can do it, but there is a process. You can't just go.
And Rebecca says Derek was invited to Monster Factory, but he also declined that too. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure where go. I mean, everyone has their own path in this sport about where they want to go. With these organizations like the Monster Factory, Arm Wars, Arm Gods, King of the Table, East First West, they all have something for pullers, I think.
Here's the cool part about that is that WAF and IFA are the amateur side of the sport. There's no cash prizes. There's no money up for grabs.
It's our Olympics, in my opinion.
Yeah. All the other organizations, Monster Factory, East versus West, King of the Table, World Arm Wrestling League even, they fall into a different category of the sport that WAF and IFA really are not concerned with.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no bearing. Like, you can attend, if you're invited, any one of these events and go without any consequence to the side of the sport that is considered amateur. Any news on UAWL? No. Consider them, I would consider them closed for business.
That question is not a dumb question, but it's a question where you see Ingen doing his thing. You see Core Sports, the reboot of the new version of Arm Wars. Arm Gods is about to take off. The Monster Factory is going strong. At this point, I think Wall is just, if I'm sitting back watching everybody do these things, if you haven't done anything by now.
Well, if they were going to start something up, they better do it soon, and they better abandon contracts. A real shame. It is, because more arm wrestling is better. However, I very much prefer the way things are today than the way they were 3 years ago.
Right.
With these cumbersome contracts where you needed permission to go do this and that and the other thing, which was all started by the Ultimate Arm Wrestling League way back when Robert Drank had it.
The UAL. Yes.
Yeah. It was ahead of its time. When you heard the word contract, I think everyone got excited because they thought, wow, I'm going to be able to make a living off of arm wrestling. And while some people are doing that now, it doesn't look like we envisioned it to look like 5 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
But I like the way we're doing stuff now because, with all those organizations I just mentioned, there's no contracts.
Yeah.
And by the way, it makes you feel good when you're invited, because it's not one of these events you can just show up to. Hey, I'm going to pull this event. Nah. So when they invite you, it means a lot. Maybe to me it does. If someone were to say, hey, you know what? We love to have you at our event. I'm thinking, wow, for them to sit there and say, hey, we love to have Chocolate Thunder there. You bring energy, whatever the case may be, and all that kind of stuff. To me, it means a lot. Maybe not to somebody else, but I'm not only speaking for me. So I think it means something, when promoters do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Jay Clean says one thing he wants back is a massive double elimination tournament. Those were the most fun events that I was at for the World Arm Wrestling League. Way more fun than the super match cards. When you had 1,000 people show up to work their way through that double elimination bracket for that big prize.
It was our version of the over the top.
Yeah. And now you pretty much have to, it's a sidebar. So you have the main event that's super matches, and then you have a tournament to follow.
Yeah. Hey, Ryan, take over the show. I got my dog barking at the front door because UPS dropped off a package, so I'll be right back.
You know, make sure nobody steals the package.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. All right. Rebecca, there's no room for the types of contracts WOW have people sign. Exclusive contracts only work if athletes are paid to not pull other organizations. WOW only paid athletes when they pulled WOW. Completely agree. If you are going to restrict someone from doing things outside of their super match that they have once or twice a year, you better be paying them. So I think those days are gone. If someone brought those back, I am certain that organization would struggle to find bodies unless they were paying an awful lot of money. What else do you guys in the chat want to cover before we get off the show today? Tournaments are awesome. Bring back Zloty. I'm not sure if Zloty was an awesome event. I do not know what's going on with Igor at all. I have not seen any sign. Speaking of WAL, PAL could fall into that same category because PAL has not done anything in a long time. And as far as IRPA goes, IRPA was the catalyst for the formation of IFA, and WAF did not like it, and they were banning people that competed in IRPA events. Where the hell is IRPA? Is it still a thing? I believe the only time I've seen PAL get mentioned is by Sean Hancock, who is still running PAL events in the United States. Barbarian, I feel that the recent promotion would offer some competition between them that hopefully attracts attention with room for growth. I think the sport of arm wrestling is probably bigger than we've ever seen it.
What'd I miss?
Oh, I don't know, Jody. Lots of stuff. We were talking shit about your last match.
Yeah. Damn, where did I leave off at? Oh, yeah. So like these organizations, I just feel that when what they're doing now caters to the arm wrestling world, because some organizations like UAL, they were focused on a certain number of guys. I think WAL was too. When WAL came out, like you said, those tournaments they had, some of the best tournaments. If you're able to be a part of that, it was awesome. And the fact that, when they transitioned to the Super Series, the Super matches, it was only for, a certain amount of guys. It was good when it came out. So I'm thinking, oh, some of these matches we always want to see, now we can see make happen. The only downfall, in my opinion, was that because you only had a certain amount of guys, you kept recycling the same matches over and over. But being the fan that I am, I'd still watch it. Don't get me wrong, but it was like, do we need to see that match for a third time? You know what I mean?
Well, the problem is you had, basically a slowed down round robin. So you got to see the match, then another match, then the rematch, but it never really was as appealing as that big. The problem with the tournament is they couldn't control the narrative. They couldn't focus on certain arm wrestlers, do the promotions like they were. They had to kind of gamble on people making it to the finals or at least the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the contracts kind of ruined some of those matches we all wanted to see, but we couldn't because of contracts and yada 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 yada. So, I think at first, when you signed a contract, when it first came out, it felt like, wow, I belong to it. I belong to a exclusive league, and then you come to find out, well, what the hell, And like I said, and anytime I bring up this kind of topic, I always use you, Ryan, not to be mean, but I always use this as an example because it did make sense in why my argument is not okay with contracts. Because you signed a wall contract and you only had one damn match.
Not true.
Well, man, that took place.
I had 0 matches while I was under contract.
But didn't you have one when you pulled Jerry though, right?
That was a 1-match deal.
Gotcha.
And then they offered me a contract. And the contract was so shitty because it was like, well, here's what we'll probably pay you, but it could be more if you end up in a championship match. But it had 4 pages of likeness rights and all kinds of stuff.
Right. That's what I don't like, because then all of a sudden it's like, okay, you control the puller, which the puller has no agreement with you. I mean, as far as the contract, yeah, but it's like you trying to tell me that you own the rights. If you're not going to use me per se in this organization, then who are you to tell me I can't compete anywhere else? That's what I don't like.
Well, they also could have so I'm going to say something nice about somebody that I don't care for very much. But in his defense, let's take Devin Larratt. He was heavily criticized for always avoiding Europeans. But if you knew the backstory of why he never went over there, he was getting paid an awful lot of money to sit here in North America and just pull the same guys over and over again while building a massive following in North America that led to an extremely successful YouTube channel that led to other deals that got him farther and farther. And now,
look what he's doing.
He's going back and he's going against the guys that everyone accused him of avoiding, whether you agree with his antics or any of that stuff or not. The money's not here for him. It's over there, and that's where he's going.
Right. Everyone goes where the money is, right?
Yeah.
That's the one thing Travis will say, where everyone goes where the money is. So that's if you're into that kind of stuff. I'm not in for the money. No, any money I make is a bonus to me. So if I happen to make $200, which is probably a drop in the bucket for a lot of elite pullers, but if I happen to make any kind of money, $200, whatever, that's bonus. I get to go out to dinner, have a good dinner. Okay, fine, that's cool. I'm there for the experience. I'm there for the camaraderie. I'm there to win. Don't get me wrong, But at the same time, I don't put too much pressure on myself, because if I happen to lose, and we've all taken losses before, if I happen to lose, and I've always said this to people, if I go into one of these super matches and lose, like I did Robbie Topi back in the summer, then guess what? Yeah, I lost, but my wife didn't leave me. My kids still love me, and I still got the house. I'm winning.
Yeah, that's right. Well, my friend, we got a practice coming up tomorrow because I'm ramping it up again here, even though it's Christmas time, and I'm probably going to consume way too much food and drinks. But not tomorrow. Sorry, Wednesday is our practice. But we're going to keep pushing because I feel like something big's going to happen right around the corner in the new year.
Well, you know where I'm at. You know where my training lies right now, what's upcoming for me. So I'm really trying to thank you, Phil Woody. Thank you. I'm really trying to get everything all taken care of. My left side's going to be ready. Been training hard. I guess you could say pumpkin training, if you will. So I'm going to be ready by the end of March. Manchester, England, by the way.
There you go. Do you have an opponent?
Yes, I do. His name is Uncle John.
There you go.
Now, hopefully, what intrigues me about January 14th is Uncle John has a match with two guys, I believe. I think they're brothers, but they're like well over 280, maybe 300 pounds. I don't know. But I'm hoping that there's no injuries. I hope Uncle John walks out of that event, Armed Gods, uninjured. Because that would suck if he got injured and then all of a sudden we can't have our match. But, you know.
Yep, I hear you.
Over the Top TV says, I think Jody and I could make for a good match. Ooh. Who is Over the Top TV?
Is that Curtis Klaschinski?
Hey, Over the Top TV. I am on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Message me.
There you go. All right, buddy. This could be it. I assume we're not going to get on here on Boxing Day.
Boxing Day?
Or are we? You don't have Boxing Day down in the States, do you?
I don't know what that is.
It's the day after Christmas, the 26th. It's a holiday in Canada.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. So we'll talk. We'll decide what we're going to do. But this is probably it until, well, it's for sure it before Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes. Merry Christmas, everybody. Be safe. You know, be smart. You know, yeah, Boxing Day. No, I never knew anything about that. But yeah, I mean, I guess so. After all, you guys' Thanksgiving's in October. So,
Yeah. Ours make a lot more sense. No arguments. All right, everybody. Merry Christmas. And maybe we'll be back next week. But if not, look for an announcement. And we'll definitely be back the week after that. For sure.
Stay tuned, everybody. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your holidays. Be smart. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
And hit subscribe.
Yes. Both of us. Take care.